This is the Ford 9-inch rear end. This is the standard by which all other rear ends are measured. It is beefy, it'll handle more power than you can probably throw at it, but this one is junk. It has drum brakes. It has a 270 ratio. It is not a limited slip or a traction lock or a whatever they call it. It is none of those things. Fortunately, I have something else over here. This is a Ford 8.8-inch rear end. It's from a 99 Mountaineer. It has disc brakes. It has a limited slip. It is a 373 ratio, and it will hold almost as much power as you would ever give it. Certainly more than I'm making in the Cougar. It is within a 1/4 inch of the same width as the 9-inch in there, so it's just about a bolt-in, about as close as you can get to a bolt-in replacement.
And so the time came to pull the old 9-inch out of the car. The thing weighs literally as much as I do, and it's been bolted in place since before humans went to the moon, so it's not going to come out easily, and especially not with my crappy tools.
Well, the bolts are tight.
Even after copious amounts of penetrating lube and leverage, it refused to move. Time to bring out the 10,000 RPM wrench. The main difference between the Explorer and the classic Mustang and Cougar is the spacing between the leaf springs. I mean, there are other differences like the type of vehicle it is and everything else about it, but for my purposes right now, I'm focused on that leaf spring spacing. So the old spring pads on the 8.8 need to be cut off so I can weld new ones on in the right place. And then with the help of a friend, I threw the 8.8 in place, complete with new spring pads, U-bolts, and some mega sick lowering blocks. We centered the rear end, set the pinion angle, and tacked the spring pads in place to prepare for final welding.
So here's my 8.8 all ready for welding. I threw it in the car, set it up at ride height. I set the pinion angle to match the crank angle. I centered it side to side, got it set right where it needed to be, and tacked these guys in place. Now I pulled it out. I'll zap them on nice and good on both sides, and then it'll be ready to run.
When welding on a rear end like this, it is possible to put too much heat into it and cause it to warp. So to prevent that from happening, I'm moving side to side and welding in several different steps to make sure that no one area gets too hot. So I was able to reuse the Mountaineer U-bolt brackets by welding a little pad in place to accept the stock Cougar shock. With all that together, I put the rear end in place with some lowering blocks and a set of new U-bolts.
And I got it in place. I welded those spring pads up, got everything bolted in. I measured for a drive shaft, and now all I need to do is finish putting on the brakes.
But more on that next time.